Hello, everyone. It's time for the Kill Team Casuals. We are here and we are very excited because we got some fun stuff to talk about today. I'm joined, as always, now the super consistent Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop.
That's me, baby. That's my shtick. I'm ever present. I'm super
Ever present.
consistent. That being said, I am out for probably the next 2 weeks, passing it over to Russ from GFN Gaming.
Oh, also out for Christmas, I assume. Actually, I have no idea. We'll figure it out. Thank you very much, Ben. I'm passing this up to Australia with Reese from Threes to Wound. Thank you very much, buddy.
Land up over, depending which way you look at the world. Now, we're lucky enough to be joined by friend of the show. Janis is here today. Now, Janis, you were at the Worlds. You took Death Guard, or the Plague Marines, I should say, the team we want to talk about today. So we're going to rely on your expert knowledge. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you for having me on. I finished last with Death Guard there, or last of the Death Guard players. So I'll give you what I can anyway.
We weren't going to bring that up, but okay, that's how it actually means you can join the show as a casual purely based on that.
Okay.
Speaking of which, of the other Death Guard or Plague Marine players, Chris Bloor, he mentioned he wanted to say hey to you because he was going to be hanging out, but I think he's got a sick kid, so he can't hang out. We want to pass along a hello from London town.
And of course, a huge hello to everyone in the chat as well. We've got Papa Kraken, Linford, Norwich. We've got Battle Brothers Tabletop. Well done, Ben. Papa Kraken at Veneto. Everyone's in there chatting away. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are listening to the podcast, we do record the show live every week on Twitch. So join the Battle Brothers Discord. You'll get about a notification about 20 minutes before we go live. And then we may hit that mark by about I know, occasionally. We get pretty close.
I'm going to have to say, I met Linford on this weekend. There was a tournament at Sanctuary Games for Ben's sake, for London, England, but it's in Nottingham, home of Warhammer. And I must say, Linford has one of the most handsome beards I've ever seen. In fact, he might be a 10 out of 10 for just handsome men indeed. But his beard was spot on. Very handsome
praise
man.
Indeed.
Very handsome beard. He beats you, Reese. You know, you were the handsome man of Kill Team. Not anymore. It's now Linford from Norwich. I'm saying it your way, Norwich, but Norwich is how it should be said.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, look, I think we're here. Obviously,
look at him covering his beard. Look,
I know. Now I'm sure,
insecurity.
You've made
I
me
was
so
going to say,
insecure.
everyone's just hiding.
Anyways, moving on. Yeah.
I'm a mess. I'm going to need a minute, actually. No, so, speaking of Death Guard or Plague Marines, Russ, you did take them for a trip this week, actually.
I did.
You took them out and about at said bearded tournament.
Yeah. It was good. Yeah, I didn't want to take Legionaries because Legionaries was my normal team, but it feels, I don't know. Not that I'm a great player, but Legionaries sometimes is a bad match for your opponent. Like you go into them and you're shutting all their abilities down, and it just feels cruel. So I thought Legionaries, they're kind of like Legionaries. Yeah. Well, no, at Worlds I would have taken them 100%. I would have taken them at Worlds. Oh yeah, please. I would have run them at
all the help you can get.
Damn right. But Plague Marines for me, actually, yeah, everyone should be. It should have just been Legionaries all over the place. But it feels like Plague Marines for me, Plague Marines, Nemesis Claw are one of those teams that they exist in that they're good, they can be great, but they're not at any point, they don't feel too overpowered for elite teams. Like elite teams feel like they've got a benefit in this edition, but those are two teams that I think specifically that I've kind of run and played against that it never feels like you've just got the game because of the team you're taking. You still have to play the game. But they're still a fun team. They're still elites. They've still got loads of flavor. So I do love Plague Marines at the moment. They might be my new team for the foreseeable, I think. So hopefully I'm going to pick up some tips on how to run them today.
Yeah. What would be if you had to? I'm going to take over the show here, Reese, for a moment.
Please,
I'm so sorry.
Please do.
If you had to pick like your favorite thing about Plague Marines, Janis, like what makes you want to play them? Aside from just loving Plague Marines, you can't say because you love Death Guard.
I love Death Guard. I mean, that's the main reason that I'm running them. That's my Legion. Has been since not Rogue Trader, but second edition, 40K. So I've been in the hobby for a long, long time. So, but beyond that, I think the team's just very, very flavorful for being a Death Guard themed team. I mean, just having the amount of 7s and 3s in the team is just like chef's kiss for me.
Yeah, it's a real flavorful rule that so many of the rules rely on the number of Nurgle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very nice. It's very cool.
Do you feel too, Janis, that what they've done with the faction rules with this new Plague Marine team is kind of nailing that aesthetic too, where you're looking at things like the poison, the disgustingly resilient? Do they, on the tabletop, they feel like Plague Marines now?
Yes, they definitely feel like you're playing Plague Marines and not just extra chunky legionaries.
Now, take us through, obviously, the team rules we just mentioned there, poison and that. Take us through what, because obviously that's a core mechanic just for these guys. What does that do for the team?
Okay, so one of the big thing is with poison is you have to get an enemy model poisoned. So there's several different ways to do this. The easiest way to do it, though, is through your equipment choices and taking the playgrounds, which means you do any damage to anybody with a bolt weapon, you're going to give them a poison token. Most of the other weapons, like the Plague Spewer, has poison. All the psychic powers have poison, and so on and so forth. So one of the big thing is if you're close to somebody and they have a poison token and they're close to a Plague Marine, if you have the poison bells on them, they'll take D3 damage as soon as that model activates.
Good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they just have a straight poison token, they'll take 1 extra damage. Now, there are a few weapons on the Death Guard team. The Leader's Plague Sword and the Warriors. There's the Warriors Bolt Gun.
Yeah.
And there's another one that has toxic. Oh, it's the Grenadiers or the
Blight
Bombardier's
Grenade.
grenade, light grenade. And if you're shooting at a poison model, your damage on those weapons goes up by 1 on each profile. So the sword goes from 4/5 to 5/6. The light grenade goes to 3/5, and the bolt gun goes to 4/5. So very good stuff.
I think one of the
the
interesting
Plague
things
Sword going
too.
to 5/6 is a game changer. Once you get it off, he's just clapping everything he touches.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
interesting
healing
as
himself.
as you said with the faction equipment there too, like everything seems like the faction equipment nearly seems like all auto take in a lot of ways. You've got like the plague bells.
It is really.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, So I must admit, I've been taking everything, faction equipment, and then occasionally I'll drop the equip ploy. Sorry, Reese, I'm just trying to figure out how to play him better. So I'm just going to take over and ask. So what I tend to be doing is I take all the faction equipment just because it's pretty good. Like the always not being injured, just so good, and everything else. And then I'll sometimes take ladders if I'm on any place because they are quite slow, and taking them from 2 inches to just 1 inch to get over a wall feels helpful. Like, what are you running when you normally? I'm in like an average game. What do you run equipment wise? Do you run the faction equipment?
I run at least 3 pieces of faction equipment in every game. I'm always running bells, vents, and rounds, and the playgrounds. The light grenades I'll drop on occasion. Like if I'm going into an elite team, I'll drop it.
Yeah,
for
I guess that
grenades.
makes sense. Yeah, because I guess you can rely on the wizard to be like visible your poisons. You don't need to blast as much to get them. Interesting. So
now, if it's an into the dark, though, I might take the blight grenades just for the lethal.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going against a horde, like a non 3-up armor save team, I'll tend to take blight grenades almost every time.
So like 2/4 is like a decent crack, decent frag, isn't it? Yeah, 2/4 is slightly better. Yeah.
That's it, yeah. So for those who might not know, the blight grenades, obviously, 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 2/4 damage, range 6, blast 2, saturate, severe, and poison. So like, you can definitely see that could be beefed up. But against, as you said, against maybe elites, it's going to struggle a little bit compared to the crack grenades.
And do all of those are they toxic or poisonous as well? So do they benefit from a?
They have poison, but not toxic. Only the Bombardier's grenade has toxic.
Okay, so those can potentially go up to 3-5 if you're throwing it at a poison target.
Only the Bombardier's grenade will do that.
Bummer.
The light
Okay,
grenade
gotcha.
doesn't have that. It's only when it's being thrown by the Bombardier.
That's not a bummer, Ben. That's not a bummer, Ben. Don't say that. That's great. All right, we're on the side of we're going to be playing against.
It's probably good. It's probably good and balanced, but
yeah,
probably good and balanced. But I say bummer.
It's a bummer for me when I'm throwing the blade grenade at somebody. I want that extra damage.
Yeah, I'd love it to be toxic as well. Okay.
And so you can see with I guess the way the faction rule too, obviously they've got Disgustingly Resilient as well, which is the new addition, Disgustingly Resilient, which works a little bit different. But obviously this team is designed really to just sort of that Death Guard implacable march, get up the battlefield, dealing out that poison as they sort of move up the board, and then obviously really starting to get to work once they get in close, because even they've still a lot of their weapons, grenades, plague spew, it's all pretty close combat or closer range, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much everything on the team is within that 7 inches of death, kind of, where you have all your range for pretty much everything. I mean, you have a couple longer range shooting attacks. I mean, the sorcerer or the Plaguecaster has the Plague Wind spell, which is unlimited range. And then you have 2 bolt guns on the team, one with the warrior and one with the bombardier again. The icon doesn't, though. He only has a bolt pistol.
Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly say a big hello to everyone from Tactical Tortoise TV who are rating with 30. So g'day to everyone who's just come in with that group. Sorry, guys.
What's up, Tac Tortoise, and your 30 mutineers? Hello.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having you in. Janis, quick question too. Dad of Goldens in the chat has asked, does poison affect gingerbread? Is there an explanation?
It does affect gingerbread. For those that don't know, Plasma Spam, my team has a event every year, Christmas, where we do kind of a themed holiday event. This year, it was a more narrative event, and Ryan Wilfong and his girlfriend made a bunch of gingerbread men miniatures for the event, and the NPOs were all gingerbread men.
That's very cool. I love Christmas.
You get to eat them when they
poisoned gingerbread men. You have
to spend CP to eat a model off the table.
Oh, you can wait. You spend a CP, you just eat a model?
Yeah, you just pick it up and eat it.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah, man.
And Valente ate 18 cookies throughout the event. So he's got the diabetes now, so
good God.
Now with the strategic ploys or strategy ploys, Janis, have you got any favorites, or do you want to walk us through the ones they've got on tap there that you usually look at?
Sure, let me pull them up just so I have the correct names.
Yeah, go for it. We like to be borderline factual around here. Not completely factual, but borderline.
Okay, so Contagion, if you're taking the icon, you're always going to be running Contagion. I mean, it's probably even if your icon dies, you're probably going to spend the points for it, because this is if you're visible to and within an inch of a enemy model, you're going to be -1 to hit and -2 move. So it's a pseudo injury bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the person's poisoned, they only need to be within 3 inches of a Death Guard or Plague Marine model. Or if it's the icon as well, they only need to be 3 inches away. So, I mean, that one is, you're pretty much always running that unless something really weird is happening.
Yeah, if that's not run, you're in trouble, because that is an auto. I mean, first thing you do in the turn is I'm running Contagion.
I mean, typically in the first turning point, you don't have to run it because nobody's going to be close to you. But if you're running the icon, it's like
it's like a pass. Yeah, it's like a pass, isn't it? Back over to you. I'm running Contagion.
Might as well use it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. The next one, Lumbering Death, is one that I feel I run more often than not because this, if you move less than 3 inches before you shoot, you can get ceaseless. And with the having no rerolls on the team other than this, really, it's
okay.
it's speeded. And now, a thing to keep in mind for this ploy is it does have some restrictions to it. So it has to be when you're shooting or fighting. You can't use it on like a retaliation. So if
I see.
someone's attacking you, you can't use it. It's only when you're doing the attacking.
I thought it was retaliating. I said there was, or whenever it's retaliating.
Oh no, it is retaliating. Sorry, or whenever.
Oh, there you go.
retaliating.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's weird though that they put it down the next
I
line
just played an
down.
entire tournament this week, and I was just like, "Oh God, I've cheated everyone."
Yeah, Russ's whole life flashed before his eyes right there.
There's another ploy that's that way.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember which one it is now.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll keep working our way through.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
No, Lumbering
I don't think you can use this. You can't use it as counteract because it's not an activation, is it? Which is which is something I've fell foul of before, but not this tournament. I was like, I remember
that could be where my brain is right now.
I forgot
But you can use it on a guard because a guard is considered shooting.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that.
Pricey, dude.
That's quite nice, actually. Yeah.
Because guard is considered a shooting attack.
Yeah, it's a shoot action.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to do it. That's a good way to end it because then you can instead of losing that ceaseless reroll. Ooh. See, this is it. This is already. I'm getting the tips.
Writing it down, Russ.
There's hints going away.
Cloud of Flies. I mean, I run this
one.
Run this a lot. Just it's
so good.
It's obscuring. Although unless you're going against something that ignores obscuring, then it's not really. It seemed at Worlds that everything I went up against was like, oh no, I can ignore your obscuring. It's like, okay, great. I guess I won't run that.
Yeah.
I feel like a big part of this team, like to whether or not you can make this team, pardon me, like go or not, is like where do you put your Cloud of Flies? I see a lot of people play this team, and it's such a fun ploy. Like people just want to play it. But I see a lot of people put it down in really like places that actually don't benefit. So like in practice, where is the Cloud of Flies normally going for you? Are you hotboxing, taking security, and just locking down a room?
Now
that's interesting.
The fact that it is a 3-inch, people can be within 3 inches. It's within 3 inches instead of 2, like with a smoke grenade. It makes it a little bit harder to use than like a smoke grenade, but it's still very useful. You were saying earlier about taking the equipment or action at the beginning in the scouting phase. I'll a lot of times take smoke grenades as well. That way I have I can put my Cloud of Flies down and
double up.
If I get somebody out onto a wing, it's like, okay, then I can smoke over here as well. That way I can really,
because I thought that
really
it was kind of like
my
pseudo smoke, but you're saying double up is not a bad idea because
double up isn't a bad idea because you are a close range team, just especially if you're going against somebody that has a lot of shooting. Like I've used this against Warp Coven. It's like, okay, I really don't want to get. I mean, you'll get one of the ones that you can blow through obscuring, but I don't want to take half a dozen of different shots from.
No, I like that.
So,
well, next up is my favorite one.
Oh,
sorry, Ben.
I was just thinking through it. Yeah, I never thought to stack because the smoke grenade will give you the ignore the piercing, which is into some things can be the real.
I kind of feel like Cloud of Flies should give you that as well. I know it gives you an extra inch on the whole bubble, but I would love that just to be effectively a better smoke grenade because thematically you got to think like that bullet just clumps into a big mass of like blight flies and just clumps, and you know that you've got to stop it piercing a little bit. But yeah, no, this is one of my favorite ones. I like on Volcus. I like having this in a building with my guys on the other side of the building ready to hop over that ladder, because then if they're in the room and basically if they come into the room, you can then take care of them. And if they're shooting from outside the room, they're probably already obscured. But if they've got someone who's like able to get a shot, you can hopefully still stay alive. And I'm just like,
Right.
yeah, it just means that room. And then you do take seize ground, which I was using a lot with these guys because I think that's on Volcus. It's great because you're gonna get those two rooms. Most of the time, I had both of those rooms when you're playing them, and then it's just like they choose to shoot in the other one because they're not going to bother with the obscura, and they just stay there and live. And it's like, I think Cloud of Flies is brilliant. But yeah, if you could get rid of Pierce in one, even though it's situational, there's not loads of P. I think that would be a little bit nice. And not that they need a massive buff, but you know.
No, they wouldn't. I don't feel they need that, but it would be, it would be a nice to have considering
it's a little tweak.
Legionary out there with their
basically exactly just to make them a little bit nicer.
So and
Dad of sorry, I was to say Dad of Goldens was saying too, is this true? Cloud of Flies is also non-reciprocal obscured, so shooting out of it isn't affected?
Yeah, that's correct. Sure. Yeah, you can shoot out of it but without a problem.
That's pretty cool. I dig that.
Yeah.
Now I've never used it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to take a special because you could put that because the problem is there's not a lot of, as you mentioned, there's not a lot of long range shooting. But I can imagine a scenario where you have a flank with your bombardier and your gunner, your normal warrior, and you just Cloud of Flies that, have them in it, kind of shooting almost free because they've got a bit of range. But then Volcus has got so much heavy. It would be hard to have them in a position where they can do unless they're on top of a vantage. But I guess you could throw them on a vantage if you really wanted to. I've never tried that. I've never run them as a full shooty team. I tend to plod inexorably forward in the true Death Guard style.
I've done the shooty Death Guard actually a fair bit because I tend to run that if I'm going against Legion because I don't want Legion to get close to me because
that's fair.
They'll shred you in melee because their melee operatives are just better.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's interesting.
So I've done that where just try to keep them at arm's length and just try to take them down with the weight of firepower. That way, if they do charge in, you're going to get the one hit you're going to get should be able to take them out.
Yeah, kind of roadblock them with the mace flail guy, and then have like your warriors bombardier, and then the plague guy with the Oni long distance. You know what? His 7-inch spell is pretty decent, like 3/7 or 4/7. Like that's gonna do a lot of damage.
Insane, dude.
Yeah, like that's gonna like
with
he
severe?
can with severe. Yeah, I mean, so you're gonna get the set. It's just if you can leave someone with 7 wounds, which is very doable if they're running into your mace guy that's doing like 4 or 5 damage. Like that's real doable to take. Like, I mean, I do like them. They were a great team. Yeah.
And I mean, jumping with the Plaguecaster too, is you still have the single just ding them for straight up 3 points without anything.
If they're already poisoned, just be like, bam, 3 wounds is so reliable just to be like slap. I think that seems to be. I know we'll probably go into it, but I'd love to know what your aim of the game is, because I find myself somehow, depending on the crit op, semi just thinking, okay, let's get everyone poisoned, try and max my tack, and see how far I can get on the kill op, and maybe there's some crit op points to be had if I'm lucky. But that's how I've been going. But I can tell Reese is about to die unless he can talk about Nurglings.
We need to talk about Nurglings. Come on.
Bring it home, brother. Bring it home.
I love Nurglings. I mean, it's a great ploy, but it's just very situational. But I've used this clutch at a few times where it's like, okay, minus APL, and it's just enough to put a wrench into your opponent's plans of what they might want to be doing.
It seems like a really good one if you know you're not going to have initiative or something, and you can be like, well, I know this operative's going to, he's going to run forward or run away, like whatever it is. There seems to be a really good counteract the obvious initial move, which is really cool. Russ and I were speaking about, it could even be, potentially though, do you think it could have also been a firefight ploy? Do you think it would have been more interesting or useful as a firefight ploy?
I probably would have liked it better as a firefight ploy. Because that way you could run up and do it actively rather than trying to set it up in a previous turning point.
Yeah, this team is pretty fair. I feel like they could get away with having some like little gotcha like that, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have that and it wouldn't push them too far.
I think the one thing I love about it, which it feels like, I'm not sure if it's the way it's been written, but the fact that it doesn't need to be visibility. So if you've managed to poison someone, you can just through 2 walls be like, well, you're within 7 inches, -8.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that I love about it the most. It's just, like you say, it's only come up like once or twice, and it's been in casual games, and I've been like, this doesn't feel like a casual game move, but he's going to be -1 APL. It's like, you can't see him. It's like, don't need to. And it's sort of like, really? But yeah, it's not come up. I've not used it in a tournament yet. It's not been that situation, but it's a very cool one. And if you can poison as many people as possible to increase that to 7 inches, don't need visibility. I do like that. I do like that possibility. It's real nice.
Yeah, it's nice if you got somebody that you can stack the poison on, and then, like you said, just go through walls with it. But
yeah,
it's very very situational.
Yeah, I can see. You know, actually, it'd be quite. Oh no. Oh yeah. So if depending on how aggressive you've been, I could see you going a bit aggressive with your Plaguecaster, running forward, and within 7, any target that you can see, you can just be like, bang, you're poisoned, and then line it up. But you've got to be quite aggressive with quite a key piece. And I'm always a bit reticent. And again, we'll go into it, but I was kind of like, I feel like I keep that guy back within 3 to just be like heal and then heal and counteract and just keep everyone alive, basically.
He's definitely kind of a linchpin of the team. So, and we'll just save that for when we get to the operative section. So going on to the Firefight Ploys, this ploy is one that I probably use most, is that Virulent Poison. And I tend to use that with my leader and charging, to be quite honest, because charge in, get that poison on them, and you can immediately start doing that extra point of damage on all your attacks.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's good to get that lined up. So like I said, I tend to probably use this almost every game just to give that instant, hey, you got poisoned.
I really like that extra bit too. The roll 2d6 if the result is 7+. One enemy operative within 7 of that operative gains the poison token as well. That's again so Plague Marine or Nurgle theme.
Oh yeah,
needing a 7+ and all that, but also that being spread out as well. It makes it a bit of an extra bonus, which is cool. 7 up, should be reasonably consistent.
It's so risky. Have you ever tried it that way? I've never tried it that way. I'm too much of a chicken.
I have done it that way. I did it to John Reese at Worlds, and it kind of messed up one of the things. Yeah, it worked, and it was kind of messed up one of the things he wanted to do. And it's like, now I don't want to get close to you.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I love to hear a success story of a risky gambit, because that's I can envision myself just rolling 2 1s, and it's like, nothing happens.
Yeah,
carry on.
And then we go to roll 2 dice.
Oh yeah.
Then we go to the ploy that I use the least. I don't think I've ever used Poisonous Demise, to be quite honest.
Ooh.
Because this is the one that if you die, you kind of spray poisonous goop everywhere. And for anyone within 3 inches, you either give them a poison token or give them an additional wound. It hasn't come up to the point that it would really make a difference most of the times that when I'm in a fight like that. I already have everybody around me poisoned, and 1 extra point of damage isn't going to be a make or break kind of thing. I mean, maybe if I was against a more horde type team, it would be better, because 1 wound off of a 7 wound model is a lot more than 1 wound off of a 14 wound model or even a 12 wound model.
Yeah, if you could get out in this dream situation, like charge, poison, like charge and kill one, like maybe you're on low wounds, you charge in, you fight, you die, and you throw out like 3 poison tokens, then it feels like maybe a worthwhile CP. But like for just like 1 or 2 guys, like it just doesn't feel like a great use of.
Yeah, it doesn't. I would rather have Nurglings as a Firefight Ploy than this.
Yeah. If it did more damage to someone that was already poisoned, maybe. Like that would be cool. Like if you were poisoned prior, you just take flat 3, and maybe if you'd gone in and flailed and you've poisoned a whole bunch of people and then blow up and do another.
Even if it would only been 2 damage, I think it'd be better. I mean, 3 would be definitely more thematic.
Yeah, that's
But
what I like. I'm keeping it with the numbers. I'm like, yeah, just 3 damage, kill them all.
Yeah, I just don't feel it's worth the CP to do this, unless it's like you have a bunch of guys around you and it's real close.
Yeah. I think I've only ever used it for fun. Just to be like, he's gonna blow up. It's kind of fun. In my mind, it's like Big Trouble in Little China, where the guy just kind of goes, and he gets so angry and he just blows up. That's kind of how I'm like, he's doing that. He's just seen his big buddy die, and now he's blowing up. But yeah, that's the only time I use it.
Now the next ploy, Sickening Resilience, is probably the best of the tactical ploys. This is the one where for the entire activation, you can auto succeed any of your disgustingly resilient.
Ooh, okay.
So why this is the caveat with it being the activation. So as if somebody's going to be shooting at you twice, and you pop this on the first one,
carry over.
Yeah,
it'll carry over. Same with if somebody's double fighting you. So that way, it just carries over to the next attack, which is so nice.
yeah.
I didn't realize this at first in the Worlds. I'm like, oh, this is the entire activation. This changes the math quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. You get an anointed an anointed level durability for one action or activation. It's insane. Yeah, I had a Reaver, one of my first games with this team, a Reaver charge and do like the double spike and all this kind of stuff. And I lived between pairing out. It's like, okay, you did like 9 damage to me or something, but like, okay, now I kill you. Like it's just so good.
I love this on the leader. Like if you go in and drop it, because obviously he heals himself as well. So you do that thing. You do the thing you were talking about, where you go in and poison them with the ploy, and then you hit them. As soon as you take damage, you're like, you know what? I'm fighting twice because there's 2 people I'm in combat with. Drop it now, heal you, and it's just he just becomes an absolute tank for that activation. Spend a lot of CP, but it's worth it for that look on your opponent's face when you're just like, he lives. Yeah. He lives forever. But yeah, I think this gets used in every single game. I've never used Sickening Resilience.
I've used it in at least once in every game that I've played.
Yeah.
So, and this is one that I found, like, if you have a CP in your pocket on this one, it's almost like, it's kind of like having a CP in your pocket for just a scratch.
Yes, that's what it makes me think of, yeah.
You can like scare people away from even attacking you, because like that's the great thing about these ploys. Like just a scratch, you can, if you live in fear of it, then they win. You're just gonna have to brute force through it. But like this is kind of that same thing where if someone knows you have this, they might not even take that. Like they may just not even attack you, which is good for you as well. So just having a CP in your pocket for this, real good.
Yeah, it's a real nice one. So, Janis, this is my favorite of the Firefight Ploys.
You're an absolute jerk, dude.
And Curse of Rot is
and it's one I've hardly ever used, but I'm waiting for it to be someone rolls all 3s, and I'm just like, because it's so fun. But go, explain it.
It can't be on their attack either.
Is it on their attack? Although for their defense, isn't it their defense as well?
Though, yes.
Yeah, for their defense to be like.
I thought Russ had been cheating again. Damn it, this would have been great.
No, this is the one that I was called him out. That my brain was thinking of when I was talking about Lumbering Death. So if you're shooting at a model or fighting another model, and in their defense step or their retaliation roll, they roll 3s and you spend a CP, all their 3s cannot be re-rolled, and they take 1 point of damage for each 3 that they rolled.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. It is a bit of a gotcha. I tell all of my opponents at the beginning that this is something I can do, just because it's a little bit of a feel, but it's like a mini feel bad to be like, those 3s, they go away, they deal you a mortal wound. Hacha. It is fun though. I always keep a CP for this, just because I'm positive I'll be rewarded by Nurgle, and he'll just give me it. He'll just be like, here's the 3s. I'm convinced it's gonna happen, so I keep a CP ready to drop that, but it's never really happened yet.
I've had it happen once in a fight against a Legionnaire Butcher, where he rolled 1-5 and a bunch of 3s, and it's like,
oh yeah,
I can use this.
Bang. Yeah.
This is
I've
the
never
moment.
watched someone's dice as much as when I'm playing Plague Marines, just waiting for those threes to come up and be like, yes, bang. But yeah, it's a fun little thing.
It is a short range. You can't do it from unlimited range. If you're unpoisoned, it has to be within 3 inches. If you're poisoned, it has to be within 7. So, which is why I say I try to put out as much poison tokens as I can with shooting as soon as I can.
Awesome. Well, let's jump in and have a bit of a look at the operative. So we've got this. We've touched on this guy a little bit. The Plague Marine champion, obviously up there with the Malignant Plaguecaster, as I guess a bit of a staple of your team. One of your big heavy hitters.
Yeah. Can I ask? Can I throw an audible and ask a question before we get into this?
No, sorry, Ben. No questions.
No, denying veto.
You said no. I'm going to do it anyways. So I have a big question, Janis. Big question on mine because I've been thinking of this the whole time, but I didn't want to jump out of sequence until Reese tried to steer us somewhere. Then I'm okay with jumping out of sequence. There's sort of some like talking about: do you take the fighter or do you take the plague spewer? And there's back and forth about this. Which operative do you drop the most?
Do I drop the most? Probably the spewer.
Spewer. Okay. That's what I have done in my games. Yeah,
that's me as well. But I
have a bolt pistol, which is a bummer. If you had a bolt pistol, then it opens up a whole bunch. But
yes, he needs it. Yeah.
That's partly why I'm sure to take grenades, so that way he at least has something that he can do.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to double check. If the fighter had a pistol, it would be a different. It'd be a different just conversation.
Yeah,
but
I wish either one of them had a pistol. Honestly, like it's a strange
either of them.
The fighter doesn't have a pistol either. It's like everybody gets a pistol. These are Marines, dude. But he doesn't. I guess he's not modeled onto him. So understand.
Legionaries have pretty much like all the evil specials, even their close combat.
Everybody has, even the heavy had a pistol.
That's very interesting.
Everybody has a bolt pistol.
As you said, maybe not modeled on, so can't do it. WYSIWYG. All right, Ben, can we get back to what we were talking about before, so?
No.
I'll allow it. Yes.
So, Janis, take us through the Plague Marine champion. What do you like with this operative?
I kind of wish he had a bolt pistol rather than a plasma pistol. That's what
Or both.
Bolt pistol for everyone. You know what? This round's on me. Everybody gets a bolt pistol.
So, I mean, what's not to like about this guy? I mean, he does have a
bolt pistol.
Plasma pistol.
That's what I don't like about him.
Yeah, he doesn't have a bolt pistol, but he does have a plasma pistol. So at least he has something. He can't shoot it twice, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And the downside for that, so I will talk about something I don't like about him, is his shooting attack. You can't poison anybody with it. I wish you could poison with it.
Poison plasma would be pretty cool.
Yeah, you just need to he needs to shoot through a Nurgling. Like you just have a plasma shoot through a Nurgling and it that vaporizes the guts, and that's your poison. That feels thematic to me, but whatever.
Yeah, he's got one on the top of his head there.
He's got 2 on his base, I'm sure.
Oh, there you go.
But he's got Plague Sword again, severe poison, toxic. So you're always going to get a crit with it, and it's going to poison somebody if you're not already poisoned them. But you tend to want to have a person poisoned before you fight with this guy, because you want to be able to do that extra damage. And like I said, when we were talking about the ploys, is a lot of times if I'm using him, if he's charging in, I'm using that virulent poison firefight ploy to give that person a poison token before I start swinging. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way
some people early. When this team dropped, some people, including myself, were playing it where you charge in, smack them for a damage, and then your damage gets bumped. I was one of those bad people that was doing that. But only like
is that not how it works?
But apparently, it's been clarified that's not how it works. Is that correct?
The cheater.
Yeah, they mentioned it through Worlds. At least with the shooting, I know that's the way that's supposed to go.
Oh no, because the shooting all gets resolved at one point, so you can't be until the end. But I thought the combat was you hit and then you resolve the dice and you resolve damage, they become poison, and then I would assume the next hit would be then toxic. Because I know the shooting gets all resolved, like because you resolve the dice.
It's starting to sound toxic, Russ. It's starting to sound.
I feel like every time I had a discussion with my opponent, we both agreed That's how it works. But maybe not. To be fair, I didn't go into many elite teams, if any, so it never really mattered. 2 hits killed everyone, regardless the teams I was playing.
Sure.
But it would be a big deal. I can imagine it obviously into a commandos or a team that's 10 wounds like scouts. It actually makes a difference because then
that changes the break points.
That's when you want to do the virulent poison because then you get 6, and then it doesn't matter even if you got a terrible roll, you roll no crits, you're still definitely doing 6 damage and then 4. So it's
And then the other thing that this guy has is Grandfather's Blessing, which is if any model loses wounds within 7 inches of him, he gets wounds back up to 3.
I played this wrong so many times. It's just within 7. Anyone that's poisoned, isn't it? Yeah. And I was just like, I thought it was wounds you had to cause, but it's not even. It's just people around him getting injured. He's just like loving this, just getting better. I never realized how good it was until I played it recently. Then my opponent read the rules and he was like, "No, you just get wounds back, like 3 a turn or something like that." I was just like, it's gonna happen. You're gonna get 3 wounds back a turn, basically.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It's very cool. But yeah, so if you had a bolt pistol, this guy would be cream.
If he had a bolt pistol, he would be better, much better, in my opinion.
A tainted. Give him the Legionary's bolt pistol. The tainted 4.5 or something ridiculous like that. It's like basically a plasma.
3.5.
Is it 3.5? I'm sorry, Ben. It's terrible.
Toxic,
it's a terrible weapon now, isn't it? 3.5 severe or whatever it is. Rending, isn't it? I bet it's rending.
Yeah, rending.
It will be rending. Of course it is. So you're definitely doing 10 damage if you get a single severe and rending. Can you imagine? Yeah. Oh, that would be beautiful. That's what he should have. He should have severe and rending.
That is the Legionary bolt pistol.
It is severe. Are you joking? If you have him as
it gets better. It's rending, punishing, and severe. Even worse, dude.
Terrible. God, how is that team? They're so good.
Good and fair and balanced.
They're so good. They are my favorite team, I'm not gonna lie.
Me too.
Take us through the Malignant Plaguecaster, the MVP of the team by the sounds of it.
Yeah, dude.
Got some
this
stuff.
Guy
got
is
going on.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on here. So he's got the two psychic powers, Entropy and Plague Wind. Entropy is your short range, 7-inch, heavy hitting psychic power. For those that don't know, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3/7, range 7.
Oh, I love a gamble.
Saturate, severe, poison.
Saturate's so good as well sometimes.
Yeah.
Just if you're in like that team that's like 5-up saves, it's just like, well, you're dead. Come on, you're just dead. Yeah. Take it off the board.
Even the 3 damage really hurts. So you don't need the 7s. So it's just the 3s are enough.
But you're gonna get it. It's like, I'm gonna get a 7. Trust me, I'm gonna get a 7.
You're gonna take at least 1 crit.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, so.
Yeah, from a design standpoint, man, I love that this team has severe all over the place.
Yeah,
it just makes sense. Like it's a really fun mechanic that they have it all over the place, and it just it at least to my brain it makes so much sense. Like these guys carrying this plague, like it's gonna hurt, and it's reliable because that's also the Nurgle thing, right? Like Tzeentch is swingy and gambly, but Nurgle is just so reliable, which is why I've always been Nurgle pill. And I love severe is so good. I love it.
And then you play against Hyrotech Circle, and they run the Psychomancer.
Oh no!
Okay. I can't do anything now.
Awful, dude. No crits.
Oh, it is
Gross.
Yeah, it's gross. So anyway, next of his psychic powers is the Plague Wind, which you're probably going to use more often than the other one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This one's the long range, so unlimited range. 6 attacks, hitting on 3s. 2/3 damage, saturate, severe, torrent 1, and poison. So into the dark, or if you're shooting into one of the boxes, or the strongholds on Volcus, it's 5-up lethal now.
So another great way to get long distance poison as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, you see the 2/3 on this thing, and you think, oh, it can't be that good. So twice in the same game, guys, twice I have one shot 12 wound Phobos Marines with this guy in a single game. It was like if you don't roll well in your saves, like it just stacks up, and like a lethal 5 and the severe. Twice I took a full health Reaver to death with this guy. It was insane. Like it's not going to happen all the time, but like it punches through because 6 shots is effectively armor piercing.
Yeah.
Right, like it's just without having piercing. Having extra dice is like piercing, so
At
it's
least
just
with
so
the
good.
wreckers,
Yeah, I love
it's
it.
like on 5s, but when it's a Marine doing it and you're hitting on 3s, 6 dice on 3s
Yeah.
is very good.
Devastating, can be.
No, it does have devastating.
And,
Devastating 7 to make it thematic as well.
Yeah.
And now the sad part is the corrupted
Yeah.
staff. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3, 4, severe shock, stun, poison. It's a pretty good profile. However, what makes it sad is the Astartes rule, you can only attack once with each psychic weapon. So no fight twice for this guy.
Oh, that's interesting.
bummer.
Wow.
I haven't even. To be fair, I very rarely use this guy for combat, but I hadn't
Yeah.
even clocked that until now. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, in the
You can use
Plague
2.
Marine Astartes
Yeah.
rules, it says you can only use each psychic attack once.
Yeah.
First no bolt pistol.
Interesting.
Now this team does not have enough good stuff. I'm sorry. It's a write off.
I'm with
With-
you on that. I mean,
What this guy could do, though, this guy can shoot entropy and then plague wind, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
insane, buck
Mm.
wild, dude.
I mean, that's
buck
great,
wild
yeah.
amounts of damage. Holy, but yeah, I never clocked that either. I've actually never used him in combat. But with,
So,
at least with
now-
severe shock and stun, that's the get away from me stick. It's if you charge him,
Yeah.
that's he's just trying to block and get
Just
get away.
flailing wildly.
Stop it.
He should be like 6 attacks hitting on 4s just to be like to marry what he's actually doing. But yeah.
now he has 2 other psychic abilities on the back side of his card. Poisonous Miasma and Putrescent Vitality. We touched on Poisonous Miasma earlier. This is the spell that you select an enemy operative visible and within 7 inches of this operative, or one enemy operative that's a valid target for this operative. So if somebody's concealed but visible within 7 inches, you can use this on them.
Oh,
That's
there
good.
you go.
That gives either a poison token if they don't have a poison token already, and if they already have one, you inflict 3 wounds right off the bat.
It's
So you can zap somebody that's in. I've used this to zap people that are in combat. It's like, oh, you're possibly at a break point for when my guy attacks.
Yeah.
Take 3 wounds off of you. So now you're down
That's
to
a good one.
Yeah.
Because you can be within. I was going to say because they're not a valid target, but if you're within 7, it doesn't matter. It's just visible, and you're just like bang.
Yeah.
And they're probably, if they're in combat with you, they probably are poisoned.
Well,
so yeah,
you
that's 3.
It has to be in combat with somebody else because you can't do this if you're.
Oh,
within.
not of yourself, but yeah, but if you've charged one of your guys and maybe taken a hit and parried out, 3 damage. Oof.
Yeah.
I like it for that's actually real good. I've never even thought about using it that way. Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
This is also good to use to snipe out people that are trying to do the sniper nest thing.
Grot in that
Yeah.
top of Volcus, so you can actually I can
I've
see
done-
you. Bang.
I've done that to the Grot, and I've done that to some mandrakes before. It's like, get out of there. Get out of there.
I've got a regular opponent that always plays commandos, and I've started bringing the Plague Marines, and I'm like, I've got a plan for your Grot now. First one is free, and then the second time it's going to be 3 damage. It's going to be like, bang.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's real good for those kind of like nuisance models that are kind of unanswerable, and they just kind of sneak around for the entire game. Yeah, I do like that.
And then his last psychic ability is the Putrescent Vitality. This is the healing spell that the Plaguecaster has. It's really short range compared to all the other healing spells. Yeah. This was only a 3-incher. However, instead of it doing like a D3 +1 or whatnot, this is you roll 2d6, and if you happen to roll a 7, you heal 7 wounds. Otherwise, you take the highest number of the dice you rolled.
Geez, that's still pretty good either way, isn't it? Like that.
It's happened so many times. I've rolled 7 so many times on that. Like it's just so fun. A 4 and a 3 just come up and you're like,
yeah,
he lives.
Half health of your standard operatives back. Yeah,
back up.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. And
they just went from being an easy to kill to full strength again.
Start again. Far out.
So yeah,
All
it is a
right.
bit of a gamble, and it's short range, but I
Mm.
mean, it's a really good spell.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys find though,
And you can
because
do it
of
on
the way that
counteract as well.
the Plague
Yeah.
Marines work, that naturally they are a little closer together? Like, I mean, is it we obviously elite teams are difficult because you've got to cover a lot of the board, but
You're
naturally these guys
limited.
have a
The limited movement you have, I do find that it is easier to keep them somewhat together, especially if you're posting up your Plaguecaster somewhere towards the middle of the board. You can at least get them with a move into a position that they'll be able to do their magic on one of their buddies.
if anything, it's just choosing which ones to do, because that's like two great shooting spells, two good like AP actions to do. Like, plus
So
you
a thing-
moving it, a lot to
the
do
thing
for
that
an
I-
operative.
I tend to do with this guy is he kind of lives in the cloud of flies for me.
Mm.
I'll put the cloud of flies down usually near him. That way he can move around a bit, still get benefit of cloud of flies, and has the non-reciprocal shoot obscuring of being able to shoot his spells, but you're not able to shoot him without it being obscured.
I dig it.
Yeah, that's
All right.
nice.
Well, let's move on up to the Bombardier. So now we're talking some gross grenades. Take us through what the Bombardier does.
Okay, Bombardier, he's okay. So, kind of going over the champion you have to take because he's required. The Plaguecaster is an auto take, 100%. The Bombardier is an auto take, pretty much 95% of the time. I've not seen a reason a game not to take him, to be quite honest. So his thing, his basic weapons are a bolt gun and fists. So standard bolt gun, standard fists.
They do the same damage. If anyone's wondering, bolt gun and fists, 3-4 damage.
It's four attacks, hitting on threes, 3-4 damage.
My favorite thing in Kill Team.
So
Punch you
where
as hard
his
as a bolter.
yeah, where his spice comes in is the fact that when he uses any grenades, he hits one less, so he hits on threes with grenades as opposed to 4, if like the equipment would. But his blade grenade is toxic. So as we were talking earlier about, if you are throwing your blade grenade at a poisoned operative, damage goes up to 3-5 rather than 2-4. So it would be his profile, if he's throwing his blade grenade at poison models, is 4 attacks, hitting on threes, 3-5, severe toxic, severe poison, saturate.
Bit going on.
Yeah.
And lethal 5 in the right places, like into a stronghold or into the dark, like just you're melting things with that.
Yeah. Now, another thing is, I'm going to talk about some equipment here, since he's the first one that really gets the benefit of it. Is he has a full-on bolt gun, so he has unlimited range, and with the plague rounds, he has a bolt gun that now has severe toxic. So he's always going to get a crit, and if he hits you, you're going to be poisoned.
So good.
So yeah, that's kind of him in a nutshell. I mean, he's, like I said, he's, for my team, he's one of the standard every time I roll him out.
Well, so having the bolt
getting
gun
that
just
bolt
gives it
gun.
that the duality, isn't it, Ben? Like, it's-
Yeah, I think you want it, don't you? You want another way to poison someone on the other side of the board if they're a shooty team and you can't afford to not get, like,
Right.
you just can't get to them because you're slow.
Yep. And like I said, with me doing more of a shooting team, I tend to run him just because he has an actual bolt gun. So
Yeah, and it's still, I mean, again, plague rounds, it is still severe and it's poison, so it's better than a normal bolt gun.
Yep.
And if you're not moving that far, you'll also have ceaseless, so it's, if you've done lumber and death more often than not.
yeah.
Yeah, let it
I
rip,
do like
dude.
him.
Nice. Now we've got the Plague Marine Fighter with everyone's favorite Flail of Corruption, one of my favorite named weapons in the game.
Oh, all the names on this team are just 10 out of
It's
10
so
for me.
good.
Like the name of every ability, it's like, oh, poisonous miasma, like all this. It's just so good. It's awesome.
So I really like the fighter. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I really like this model. Granted, he's on my team maybe only 60% of the time.
Ooh.
But the flail itself, for those listening, the flail of the corruption is 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4/5, brutal, severe, shock, poison. So the fact that you're going to get at least 1 crit every time you swing it,
Mm-hmm.
and with that hit, you're going to knock one of your opponent's dice out.
Yeah.
Because
Pretty
of
nice.
shock. Yeah. So you got an instant parry, basically.
But I do agree
You
it
can
should be
almost
toxic.
Oh, yeah.
You can almost
It should be
you
toxic.
can kind of think of it as like he comes with a grizzly trophy, basically. You think of like -1 attack dice. It's sort of not mathing out the same way, but like sort of functionally, when you're going in, your opponent's probably going in with 1 less success, which is awesome.
Yeah, if you're attacking for sure, because you get it regardless, don't you? You have to do a real bad roll to not get you severe. Which has happened. I've rolled 5 2s with this guy before, and it's been like, ooh.
Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done similar.
Yeah.
Now he also has the flail ability, where a lot of guys that have this kind of weapon can just swing it around like a madman, and it does inflicts D3 plus 2 damage
So good.
to everyone within 2 inches of him.
Yeah. This has actually come up a bunch for me. Like, and it's happened because obviously if you roll a 3 you do poison them as well.
Yeah, if you roll a 3 on the die, and do 5 wounds, you get a poison token on.
It's just it's been great to just go in and windmill around with him and just try and do your best.
So, story time from Worlds for this that I feel dirty about.
Please.
So, I was playing against the Breachers player that was there.
Oh no, Mr. Breacher!
That went
Breacher
over.
player.
One Breacher player. He posted up on the center objective with like 4 models.
Oh no!
And I ran the flailed. Did 5 wounds across the board to everybody there.
Oh my god!
And because I took plague vents.
Oh, D3 when they activated.
Yep.
Oh,
And
no.
each time one of them activated, I rolled a 2 or better. So it was just like activate, die, activate, die, activate, die.
You should have led with this.
Oh
That is
my
the best / worst thing I've ever heard. That's amazing.
I thought because I'm like, oh, buddy, you know what you did here.
Oh no!
No wonder poor guy went 0-10. You broke his spirit.
Yeah,
that was one of his last games though. So
okay.
He was broken before Janis got to him. Yeah, he was already broken.
Off the top rope, just finished him off.
Yeah.
The flying elbow down.
Just on your way.
Swanton bomber the fighter.
So you were saying the Plague Marine Fighter is sort of one of the operatives, though, that can be a little bit on that fence with the team being potentially in and out.
Yeah.
Do we think, as we mentioned earlier, probably is that little bit thing of the not having the bolt pistol means it's purely melee, so it really makes it a little bit of a one-dimensional operative, doesn't it?
It does. But in certain cases, I mean, you can just kind of like set him in a room by himself and into the dark, and no one's going to want to go into that room with him.
Yeah.
Just because of what he's capable of doing, unless it's like a Meltagun's going to try to come in and take him out. So
he does feel like a little bit of not a lot of teams, well, actually most of the elite teams have that kind of distraction con effects that everyone has. Yeah. Like the Anointed is the classic one you get the Legionaries that you have to deal with them, but you don't want to have to deal with them. But I kind of think of that's the guy that I kind of just think, okay, I'm just going to run him forward. He's not going to do any shooting. He needs to be up in the business. He's my killmonger, and he's just going to be a big scary model.
If there's any model on the team that is a distraction card effects for the Plague Marines, it's this guy.
Yeah, more often than not, I'm using my sickening rare resilience on him to make sure that he stays around. Just run him in and be like attack, and then just sickening resilience and be like, you didn't do that much damage. He's still there, and then plague heal him a little bit. And it's like, oh no, he's still there, and just keep everyone focused on the flail guy. It's quite nice. Yeah, I
And
do
so
like
you
that mod.
mentioned you take him about 60% of the time.
Yeah.
What 40% are you dropping him? Are you dropping him into other elites, or like when is he getting dropped?
When I'm dropping him, it's going to be into elites during certain matchups. Like occasionally I'll drop him if I'm going against elites into the dark. Like the example I'll use is I'll drop him if I'm running against Warp Coven. Because if they're going to be running, if I'm expecting them to be running a lot of Zangors, I'm going to take the Plague Spewer. Just because of Into the Dark, more attacks, more of a chance that I'm going to get, they're going to be bunched up, and I'm going to be able to get that torrent off.
Is it torrent
there's
2
also, you've
on
got
the
to make
Plague
sure
Spewer?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, torrent 2 on
quite
the Spewer.
nice.
Well, let's carry straight into the Spewer then. We're obviously touching on that operative too, because that was another one you sort of said that's a little bit of a on the fence, in and out kind of operative. So these might be a bit of. Is it usually one of these and not the other?
Yeah, these are the two that I'm typically dropping in and out. Is the Plague Spewer or the Flail. Plague Spewer, 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, 3/3, range 7, saturate severe, torrent 2, poison. So, like I said, going into something like Zangor, you got good chances of potentially just zapping them out with a shot. So, and then like I said, with Into the Dark, if it's torrent with torrent 2, and they're on larger bases, so there's a chance that they're going to be bunched up a bit. So I think that's why I would rather take this model than the
fighter,
than the Flail into something like that.
Yeah. It's 7-inch range though. I know we joked about it, but I would love this dude to have a bolt pistol. So you could fire with a bolt pistol and then spewer, which seems weird, but in my mind he's firing them both at the same time. He's just like
he's only got the one shot. So like we said with Legion, all Legionary heavy gunners have a bolt pistol.
Just in
it
case.
Feels like this would not tilt the power of this team, but it would be a quality of life increase and just help you want to take this guy more to be able to finish off a Marine, because I've taken this guy into elites before, dropped the fighter for him, and man, 5 on 2s, 3/3 with that stack. It's like, dude, you might not kill him, right? But you're gonna take a chunk out of whatever you're shooting on 2s.
6 to 9 damage, isn't it? I mean, it's probably
it's
getting through.
Legionary or
and then poisoned. So.
All right, so let's have a look at the Plague Marine icon bearer. So we've got
auto take.
And why is that? What does it do that makes it the auto take?
He can cast and we can use his contagion for free.
Yeah. So it ties back into those ploys. So this is that extra bonus. And obviously even the classic icon bearer thing of the +1 APL.
He has the classic. He has the classic icon bearer ability, but his big thing is that having that being able to use contagion for free.
And contagion pings off of him stronger than other models, correct?
For an unpoisoned model, yes. So if you're unpoisoned, you're within 3 inches invisible, you're affected by contagion. If you're poisoned, doesn't matter. If you're poisoned, you're 3 inches of a Plague Marine. Of course, you're still going to get pinged by it.
He's not bad in combat either. I mean, he's deceptively decent with his Plague Sword. He's 5 attacks.
5 attacks,
which is
Plague Knife is 5 attacks, 3/4, hitting on 3s, severe poison.
And bearing in mind, your opponent will always be injured when you're fighting with that weapon as well. So I really like this guy as a little, people don't expect it because he's
people don't expect it.
He just runs in. You're like, oh, that guy's 4 attacks in. You're like, no, 5 attacks. Severe
but
poison.
everybody seems to think he has a bolt gun though, rather than a bolt pistol.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
I was going to say, are we surprised by that? Should he have a bolt gun? Do we does it change what this model does? It stops him, I guess, being able to sit back on an objective and shoot long, which hurts a little bit.
The thing is this goes to the Games Workshop design philosophy of the model that it's based on has a bolt pistol.
Okay.
So, because it's the gotcha boxes, he had a bolt pistol. Where even as the Plague Marine box set for 40K and the Battle Standard Bearer that you get, it has a bolt gun.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So it doesn't help matters. It doesn't help matters that I use the champion standard bearer guy that has the actual bolt gun as my model. So people are like, "Oh, he has a bolt gun." No, technically he doesn't.
Just but we can play it that way. Let's roll a dice. If it's a 3-up, I'll get to use it. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. People.
7 up, 2 dice, 7 plus.
7, yeah.
Yeah, 7 plus.
7 plus.
And then lastly coming in is the humble Plague Marine Warrior. But as we've seen with this whole edition, Warriors are no longer humble. There's some real play in these guys
this
now.
guy.
Yeah, this guy's my favorite. I mean, the model's the best, but he's got great rules as well. He's durable, and he pumps out a shed load of damage.
Yeah.
When I saw this guy, my initial thought, because I didn't see the spoiler of you legally cannot take more than one of him. When I saw him, I was like, whoop, here we go, champion and 5 warriors. Here we go.
Oh, that would be good.
Take it on. But you can't, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was the same way. It's like, oh my god, warrior spam. Here we go. It's like, oh wait, right, you can't do that. But
is that unique amongst a team? Is there any other teams that say you can only take one warrior? Like normally they're like, please take more. Like
and
I think that has to do with this being based on this team being based on the Space Marine heroes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, nobody kit bashes.
Unheard of. No, or other Plague Marines.
Never been done. I wish Chris would make an effort. You know what I mean? Chris Scott Blow. He really phones it in.
He could really do some work. Yeah, he could really
try
do
at
some
least.
self-improvement.
Yeah.
He could show up. You know, he just phoning it in. You know, he could show up for once.
So we talked about how great this guy is, but let's go over some of his rules here. So his big thing is his bolt gun has toxic. So that means if you're shooting at a poisoned model, it goes up to a 4/5 damage. So he can pump out the damage. He's almost got a heavy bolter.
Yeah, basically.
At that point. Except it doesn't have piercing, and it's one less shot, which is sad. And the other weapon
it should be piercing.
Plague knife. It should be piercing.
It should be piercing.
You guys would say that.
And 5 shots.
You would both say that.
His other weapon is his Plague Knife, which is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3/4, severe poison. So, and again, as we stated with the equipment, Playgrounds here will give him that severe and poison as well on his bolt gun. Yeah. He also has repulsive fortitude, which means he saves crits on a 5-up. When he does armor saves.
Dude.
Just lovely little spice in there.
Yeah.
Not that he needed it. He had toxic anyway. Feels like he got two rules that warriors normally get one thing and they're like,
that's it.
This guy, because you can only take one, let's make him as special as everyone else. So we got 2 little presents, 2 little gifts from Papa Nurgle. That's what you wanted.
He needs his own special name. If he's just the one warrior, like everyone else is special. He can't just be warrior. It's
Harold.
Like, Harold the Plague Marine.
Yeah.
You know, like give him some character.
Something.
So there you go. So Janis, what's your general take all comers list? That's usually something we sort of end up doing once we get to if you had to take one list to a tournament, they're the only operatives you could take. What would be your picks for people out there?
So my all comers list for the team will be champion, Plaguecaster, flail or fighter, icon bearer, warrior. That's 6. Or did I only count 5?
I think you got one more. Bombardier or the heavy gunner.
Yeah,
Bombardier. Yeah. So I said it seems the heavy gunner seems to be the situational pick, and
he's definitely the situational piece. So he's the one that I flex in and out, and typically the one that gets dropped is going to be the fighter. Very rarely I would do the Bombardier, but for the most part, it's the fighter.
Yeah. Well, I said it's an interesting team. I said I love seeing. Now we're starting to see the new teams come out and what they're doing. It's going to be interesting when we see. Obviously, because I think we're getting close to maybe our first balanced starter slate looking things. So it'll be interesting to see
if it follows last year's example, we should see it like real soon now.
Yeah.
Hoping
I
for
think
it.
elites will be very interesting to see what happens because I think there's
Gonna be a big one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to that landscape once because I think these guys are in a great position, but also not too much. I think they've actually come out in a good spot. Sometimes you see new teams arrive and you're like, what the hell were they thinking? It doesn't. But these guys came out in a great spot. So I hope they don't get hit too hard because of the sins of other elite teams.
Well,
that would be sad.
That would be sad. I'd be very sad. I'd be very sad at that because these guys haven't really been given a time to shine.
Yeah.
Even really a little bit because they've been so overshadowed by Warp Coven and
Legionaries.
Legion. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm hoping these guys don't get hit very hard. So
what is your I'm with you. What is your like I know they have Seek and Destroy and security. What's your general game plan? I know a lot of people are really liking security, and then you just huddle up in that Nurgle hot box on the maps where you can. Are you like when you can't take that? Are you taking contain? Like what is your general game plan on the field?
I seem to take contain more than any other ploy, just because with the way that I'm playing the game, I kind of try to move up to that midfield and just stay on my side of the line, and that way I can flex. If somebody gets behind me, I can kind of dedicate people to kill that model. I mean, part of the reason I've been mostly taking contain is I've only been really going against other elites right now. So it's easier to deal with that as opposed to if I'm going against something like Mandrakes or even something like Hearthkin that can out activate you. I've run Champion a little bit. I don't rely on it nearly as much as I did when I played Legionary. I've done Overrun a few times. That's probably the other one that's my go-to. Just because I can do that, kind of stay on the midline and flex over the line and get the kill, and then just park there. And because I'm talking about the midline, secure center.
Hey. While we're here, we'll secure the center. While
we're here, we'll secure center as well. So
security seems to be the move for these guys because they can't be quite as aggressive as something like Legionaries.
And that's why
I run Russ at the tournament.
I like Seize Ground. I like the security. I like Seize Ground on Volcus just because you into one of those two rooms and I wasn't playing elites though.
I've done Seize Ground a bit. Both on Volcus and Into the Dark, because on some of the maps you can easily grab the doors and just block people from being able to do anything about it.
It was with the one map I was forced to pick. Well, I wasn't forced, but there was only one door on the center line, and I was just like, I don't think I can. I don't think I can literally score it. So I went for, and it was a mistake, but I went for. I think I went for Overrun. And I play them quite, because I was used to playing the Volkers and being quite defensive and just, like you say, staying a little bit in the middle. I didn't give myself, maybe it's because I was out of practice, I didn't give myself enough chance to move in, kill and live. So I missed it. I think I only got 1 point the first turn, and I had to fight to get the other two. But I was really like, I felt unnatural being as aggressive and like charging in with a warrior. Whereas I do like to just plant in that nice little cocoon of cloud of flies and just shoot out of it. But but I think I lost the fighter early on as well. He must have fluffed. I think I fluffed, and then I got like warp pistol to some big heavy warp cannon into him. Yeah, you kind of flailed, and I was just like, "Oh dear, this is the sign of things to come. It's going badly." But yeah, I managed to. Yeah, interesting though.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
secure center line would have been better.
That's a fantastic overview, I think, for anyone who wanting to step in and pick up the Plague Marines and get stuck in. So, Janis, thank you so much for coming on the show and taking us through that, because I know Russ has
you're welcome.
Russ has taken a lot of notes.
Yeah, I've been making notes. I want to play him more. I do love Nurgle was my first love, so I was just like, let's try and like pivot from Legionaries into Plague Marines now. So I've been taking some notes. Going to try and run them more effectively from now on.
Oh, if you want to run anything by me, feel free to reach out to me. And
yeah, man, I will do.
Anyone that's listening, you can look me up on various channels. My handle is always Janis88 wherever I'm at. So, big fan of
those DMs.
Yep, big fan of the old Buckaroo Banzai movie. I had to watch it the other night. That's why I got the 88 in my. Is anyone familiar with the Buckaroo Banzai movie?
No idea. No.
I was thinking the crazy.
It's an old 80s sci-fi movie, kind of the Peter Weller is Buckaroo Banzai, the guy that played RoboCop.
Yeah,
and he's like rock star, brain surgeon, rocket scientist. It's kind of this whole thing, and they're fighting an alien invasion, kind of.
I'm gonna have to check this out now.
Now I am
this massively interested.
What a cast!
I love an 80s, 90s sci-fi film.
Yeah. John Lithgow plays
Peter Weller.
John Lithgow playing the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's such a good
Christopher Lloyd.
Jeff Goldblum. Christopher Lloyd. You got Mad Doc in there.
Clancy Brown.
Clancy
Brown. What an insane cast. Ellen Barkin. Wow, dude.
Yeah, I've never heard of this.
Clancy, he must be young.
It was a flop in the theaters, and it's just such an eccentric, weird movie.
Yeah.
That a lot of people just overlook it. But I mean, it's one of my favorite movies of all times, and the rocket car was the HB-88, and that's why I have the Janis 88 as my, because I was such a big fan of Buckaroo Banzai.
Good nickname. The rocket car too.
This looks like something. This looks like something that Russ would love. Like this
looks like my film. This looks like my film.
There's a lot of very quotable lines in the movie as well. If you watch it, you'll find yourself reciting them. The one that always gets used is "Laugh while you can, monkey boy," because John Lithgow is possessed by one of the other aliens, and he calls all humans monkey boys.
Monkey.
This is going on my watch list.
Monkey, yeah.
This is going on my watch list. This is too good to pass up.
This is definitely going on the watch list. I'll find it on Prime. It's got everything there.
Yeah, it's you have to rent it if it's on Prime, but I think like Tubi or something has it for free, but you got to watch commercials with it.
Okay.
In this day,
maybe we don't get that in the UK.
That's my movie recommendation for the episode as well.
I love it.
We put it on.
We should have
some
more
Plague Marines.
Awesome. All right. Well, also just wanted to quickly say as well, one quick announcement actually. Friends of the show, our good friends here in Australia, Ben, this is going to be, take this walk fire, but our friends Pog here, Plenty of Games in Melbourne, has basically setting up a thing to hook up all our casual listeners. So basically, they've given us our own Kill Team Casual Friends of the Show discount. So to get that, all you need to do is sign up for an account with Pog, join their Discord, and let them know that we sent you, and then you'll get an additional 6% off their already discounted prices. So thank you to Plenty of Games in Melbourne.
This is news to two of the casuals as well. I had no idea.
Exactly. Yeah, just snuck that one
happening
in.
Live.
Yeah, it's happening live because I forgot to do it last week and forgot to tell anyone as always. So thank you to JJ Big for popping the link in the chat there as well. But check that out. So yeah,
keep us on track.
They post Australia wide, so you can get it there, and obviously discounted Games Workshop stuff. As always, a huge thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining us for the show live. We always appreciate it. If you're listening to the podcast, feel free to join us next time live. You can ask us silly questions. Obviously, for people in the chat, they're already asking Russ, when are you going to hook people in the UK up? But that's okay. We won't hold that against you. Just don't care about the people.
Maybe Element Games. I'll work with their Element Games guys. I'll try my best. They're a UK bunch.
There you go.
I'll try and smooch my way in there, schmooze it in, and get us a
Schmooze it
discount.
right in,
Going to
mate.
press the flesh and all that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what he does on his weekends, Russ. He's
Oh
known for
baby.
it.
Oh yeah.
Janis, again, thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate
Thank
having you and taking the time out of your day. As always, thank you to Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop for joining us.
That is me. Thank you to Russ from GFN Gaming for joining us.
Thanking you, Bud, and a thanks to Reese from Threes to Wound.
That's me. All right, we'll see you guys next week. And I reckon, Russ, next week, I think we need to line up some Legions of Russ. There's been some people in the chat getting a bit antsy in their panties, so we might need to bring back, when we see Ben in 6 weeks, for some Legions of Russ.
Is it next one like right before Christmas?
It's literally,
next one's
we
like
don't
the
know when we'll be
23rd.
back, but I just wanted to bag you. We'll see you next time.
I don't want to
Who
miss
knows
out on
when?
Legions of Russ.
Yeah,
I don't want to
Reese
miss out on an
versus the
opportunity to
people.
beat you at Legions of Russ, Reese.
Reese versus the people. I'll get beaten by the people. See you, everyone.
See you
Later,
guys.
Thanks very much, Janis.